It's time to chain up your expectations and throw away the keys. You're on the threshold of the Get Seen, Get Sold podcast, where sugarcoating is for donuts, not deals. Here's your host, the renegade realtor who tears up the rule book and feeds it to the termites, Mike Rady. Brace for impact. It's about to get real.
What's up, everybody? It's Mike Rady, Get Seen, Get Sold. How are you? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Something got jammed up, folks. Hold on. It's a good way to start the podcast. All right. I think there we are, folks. Sorry about that. Some technical glitches. I'm not a techie guy. Obviously, I'm a real estate agent and a rock star at that. Speaking of rock stars, today we're going to have Sammy DeStefano on. He is a killer agent out in Arizona. He's out in Scottsdale. This young man has been crushing it ever since he's joined the real estate industry. He's with a phenomenal company. He's got a great brand. He's got great work ethic. I did a deal out not too far from him. Some of his stuff I was looking into prior, and our offices got together and we talked. And I'm really looking forward to everybody meeting this gentleman because he's young enough, new enough, and he's got enough education to see where we're at with the business and where the changes are. So let me see if we can bring this guy in here without some more glitches. All right. Hey, Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mike. Thanks again for having me, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. Damn, I always have the best looking guests on this show. It's
Well, we have to compete with you.
well, yeah, I got my whole Pitbull thing going. So, Sammy, listen. First off, I know you're like 3 hours behind us, so I really appreciate you getting on early in the morning. And I know a lot of realtors aren't normally up at this time in the morning, which would be for you because
Sure.
that's just the way it is with some of them. But I don't think that's a problem for you because you seem to be pretty active and you actually do your job, which is great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had to be up at 4 this morning, and I think I got in the office at 6. So
Okay.
not too bad. It's 8 o'clock now, so we're starting late.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's great. And you know what? Our job every day is it's a daily grind. We have to get up. We have to, in a sense, we have to look for our money. We have to make our calls. We have to do our prospecting. We have to do our follow-ups. We deal with a lot of part-time agents. Here in New Jersey, I know we do. I'm pretty sure it's the same with you. So we get agents that don't reply to emails until after they get done their first job. And then they're replying till 9, 10 o'clock at night, just before they go to bed, maybe 11 o'clock. So we get up in the morning, we got to reply to those emails and get the day going. So it's
Right.
a lot of work. But before we go in too deep, Sam, why don't you tell everybody about who you are, who you work with, and and what's going on right now?
Yeah. So Arizona's a hot market in both of the senses. It's, I think, 112, 115 degrees right now through the summer, but that's called normal. I have been in sales for probably the last 10 years and then real estate coming up on 5 years. And I think at the end of the day, I found that it's all very similar. It's all, sales is sales. As long as you can communicate and understand people, you're going to do great. But we moved here from Chicago 25 years ago. And we find that there's a lot of people moving here from the Midwest.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that. All right. So that you've been in real estate for 5 years,
Yeah.
but you've been in sales
Yeah.
for about 10 plus years. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. Sales is sales all day long. And typically it's not even the product that we're selling. The way I look at it is personally is I'm selling you my service. You're buying what Mike Rady can give you, what Sammy can give you, how well we can relate whatever the particular item. It doesn't matter if it's cars, houses, Bibles, Cutco knives, and Cutco knives suck, by the way. So F you, Cutco. It's just it's But it is, right? So we're also selling in real estate. We're selling in experience. We're selling our knowledge. We're, so
Right.
we're trusted. We're an advisor. And then also, did you say it's 114 there today, or will be?
Yeah, it's 112 to 115 each day right now. Yeah.
And you're not going to tell me it's a dry heat shit, are you? Because I mean, 112,
Yeah, some
114.
days. I mean, we also have monsoons roll through.
Yeah,
Monsoons roll through, rain all night, so the next day it feels like Florida. So it's a little bit of everything. Um,
crazy. So what's the hot stuff going on in in Arizona now, right? How's your market?
the market's been strong, Mike. I think, with all of the changes in the industry, the way that Sotheby's has looked at it is it's while a lot has changed, you as the person buying the house or selling the property, like the homeowners and our clients, you're not going to really see much of a change.
Okay,
The big thing that's changed for us is the paperwork. So there has to be a little more CYA form, just basically showing that we are actually explaining to people that they are in charge and we don't call the shots when it comes to selling their property. Um, but we've adapted pretty quickly to that. Right now, we're at 18,670 homes on the market in our county. That's up from about 16,000 homes maybe 3, 4 months ago.
okay.
Um, and then the rates are hard to keep up with, aren't they? So I mean, I think it was 9 days ago, rates came down a full point. So as low as 5.5% on FHA, which just means under $500,000, and then six and
Right.
a half percent over 500,000. So um, our clients are happy. I think right now we've got 6 or 7 homes we've been hired to sell, and then we're helping a few people get into their home, purchase a property. So
That's
staying
awesome.
busy. Yeah.
I applaud you on knowing your market. So many agents don't know their market, and when I think about your
Mm,
timeline, right, you got into the real estate business 5 years ago. So you came in right at 2019, in the height of
yeah.
COVID, when we were just really starting to ramp up into it, and everybody and their mother got a real estate license, and anybody could sell a house just by tripping over it. And now we're
Yeah.
proving the fact that people, and I'm going to include myself in this too. I'm going to toot my own horn because I got my license in
Yeah.
2018. But we're the folks
Okay.
that are still in the business. We're showing that we have the longevity. We're beating that 85% of whatever it is of agents that don't stay in the market. And the reason
Yeah.
being is because we become the expert in our space.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And I got to tell you, and a lot of agents hate when I say this. I
What's
look,
that?
I'm not for failure, but if you don't belong here, get the hell out. Okay? If
Yeah.
you can't
Fail
do it,
fast.
get out of my way. Look, I'm all
Yeah.
for people working as much as they can, do what they can. I don't shame anybody for working 2 jobs, but you know what? If you're gonna
Yeah.
be a teacher and you're gonna be a real estate agent, and I'm not picking on teachers, so NJEA, chill the frig out, all right? That's our stupid teacher union here. It's like the
Ah.
mafia. Anyway,
Okay.
but our business is done during the day for the most part. What if I'm calling you at 10 o'clock to follow up on an offer, or now with our new buyer's agency agreements to see if your seller is offering any type of compensation, you got to answer your goddamn
Yeah.
phone. Because
Yeah.
real estate is right now. It's not 2, 3 days from now. It's right fucking now, and this is when the business
Yeah.
needs to be done. So,
And the property may be sold by that point too. We find a lot of people balancing 2, 3 jobs, and I'm not upset at them either. It's just the reality is agents like you and I, we just have to work a little harder. We have some properties we're selling where we actually will have to help the buyer's agent fill out a form or explain how something is going to be done. They've been hired to do this job, they just don't know the job yet.
right.
So I think maybe that's one of the issues in real estate. But if they stick at it long enough, they're gonna probably become a great agent.
Yeah,
But it is.
I think the bar to become a real estate agent is a little low. I know
A
it's shit.
little bit.
I'm not trying to shit on our industry, but and
Yeah, yeah,
now so
I agree.
we have new rules, right? The NAR, the lawsuits, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I'm still seeing post after post on social media. How do we navigate this? What does this mean? This, and that. I got to tell you something. I've been perfecting being a buyer's agent for the last couple of years anyway. I know how to
yeah,
show my value and where I'm at. So we're going to lose a ton of agents and I'm okay with it. Where are you at with like your new stuff with your buyer's agency?
Yeah, great question. I'm impressed by something you said is you've been perfecting the skills of being a buyer's agent for some time now. When these changes rolled out, you and I had to look into it and read what actually changed. And I think when we looked into that, we both found, oh, so we're required to use the forms we should have been using the entire time. We're required to explain the things to the buyers that we should have been explaining the entire time. So, you know, since I was really fortunate to get connected with a business coach very early on, and within months of becoming licensed. And those were things that we learned first before we even did business, was how to explain, the things to our clients. And then ever since, every transaction or something I've been hired to do, I've needed to explain those same things. And I'm told by my clients, that's kind of why they chose to work with someone like me, because it just, at the end of the day, I think what we do is very simple, honestly. So the form changed. In Arizona, there's one additional form that we have to sign now.
Okay.
For people who asked what changed, that's what changed.
Right.
Along with that, you should understand how the business works, but that's going to come anyways when you interview me for the job of helping you do something in real estate.
Right. So you're showing your proposition value, what sets you apart. And then, so I get it, it's one more form. And actually you probably had that form prior. It just wasn't something
We
that
did.
was enforced. So I'm licensed in New Jersey, and I'm also licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, we always follow
Okay.
the buyer's agency agreement. Always. It's been that way since the day I got my license there, and probably 50, 60 years before I even showed up to take over the state of Pennsylvania with my awesome real estate get seen, get sold team. But always on brand, Sammy. Always on brand.
I love that. Yeah, you have to be.
But,
Yeah.
but it's it's true. So now it's not okay, great. We got to fill out a piece of paper, right? We got to fill it out with our client, but we also have to know how to explain that form. We have to know that form in and out. We have to know it by heart. We really do. If you sit down with a client and you're going over the form and they have a question, you say, "Oh, let me see. Let me see what that means. Let me think about that." No, you're not. You don't know your job. You got to know your job. You got to know what you're doing. And
Right.
you're good, Sammy. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're on point. So tell me, how's like, are you folks now seeing some agents who are already leaving the business? Is there some turmoil? A lot of
Sure.
on.
Yeah, I think it's sad, but I think it's bound to happen. So, if you're looking at our market, last year, I think the end of 2022, it was a September, October area of 2022 for us, things really hit a wall. So up to that point, we were seeing multiple offer situations, homes sell for pretty far over appraisal. And when that changed, we saw over the next 12 months, we saw the licensed agents in Arizona go from about 60,000 licensed agents in our county to about 35,000. So almost half. And then with the changes that are going through now, the paperwork changes, real estate's always going to change, but I'm talking with a lot of agents that have been in the business 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And they're saying, I'm just sick of the changes. I'm just going to get out of the business. I'm done. I don't want to learn a new way of doing business. And so we're already losing those veterans, which I think those are really good agents that are getting out of the business. They're just sick and tired.
Sure.
And then we're also going to be losing agents that are looking at this as, this change being a lot more than what it actually is, because it wasn't explained to them properly. So
Yeah, I agree.
hopefully we see less,
I think, yeah.
because more opportunities for us and less agents that we have to teach going through a transaction. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are overcomplicating it. I'm not saying
yeah,
that it's definitely important, but I think a lot of people are overcomplicating it, and it's a shame that people that've been in the business 15 to 20 years plus are now leaving the business due to this. Maybe it's time for them to
yeah,
retire. Maybe it's time for them, to do something else. But at the end of the day, this is growth. We have to change. We're constantly evolving. We live in one of the as of right now, right? I would say we live in one of the best times with technology, with advancements,
absolutely.
and everything going on. I'm sure when the guy built the steam engine, they were like, "Holy shit, we're in the best." time of our lives and the Industrial Revolution, which is great for them. But I mean,
Yeah.
we're really, we're so much more fast paced. There's so much more going on. And if you can't hang, if you don't want to learn, you don't want to evolve, then all right. Well, thanks for your service. Thanks for your time. It's time to bow out. So
Yeah. If you
yeah,
find more value or a bigger paycheck by doing something else, being an accountant or whatever it may be for your skill set, I
yep,
would say do it.
yep.
You should
And
never stay in a job that doesn't make you money, you know?
this this may spark a whole new business too. Maybe they'll be, instead of buyers agents, they'll be buyer advisors. I don't know. Because we have to compete against companies like Zillow. Zillow is not, um, from what I've read and what I've seen so far,
Yeah.
they're not doing buyers agency agreements, and they are a brokerage, but they're not bound by the NAR because they're not part of the NAR. So they got their own set of rules over
Right.
there. Here's Zillow. They saw this coming down the road, and they changed. So that's we have to constantly change and evolve. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So all right, enough about the
I'm excited.
NAR and the BAC
Yeah.
bullshit, because I think, since the lawsuit, everybody's been talking this to death. So what's your ideal list? What's your favorite type of listing, or who do you like to work with? Are you more of a listing guy? You're more of a buyer's guy? What's your forte?
I think when I say we, my business coach and I, we decided that pretty early on. And he asked me, what should we work on? And he was hired more often to sell properties than help people buy properties. I like to do both. It's such a different job. It couldn't be more different. So in my time, I think the first year I was lucky enough to be hired by 25 or 30 different people to sell their properties. And that was all listing. Second year was very heavy listing. However, after 2 years of my family and friends and past clients seeing the type of or the level of service I do, they would start reaching out and, well, we want to buy this property. So I started working with buyers. And now I would say 90%, 85 to 90% of my business, a client's going to approach me and hire me to sell their property. But we're starting to work with buyers as well. And it's just, wow, it is such a different job. That's why I really admire you actually building the skill of being a buyer's agent, because, you look through the lens of a buyer. If you do that 80% of the time, it's going to affect how you do your job as a listing agent, because your experience has mostly been with a specific type of client.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
for me. That's where I like to be. Right, I'm a lot
Yeah.
more comfortable being a buyer's agent. I understand there is a lot of advantage to becoming a listing agent. Listings,
Yeah.
buying houses, use your listing to get 3 or 4 more clients and everything. That's great. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm now setting up the structure and the base. I'm working with buyers. Buyers heavy is what
Yeah.
I prefer, but those buyers are also going to become sellers, and then the
Correct.
cycle's just going to repeat and repeat and repeat. So the average person starts moving in between 7 to 12 years. So maybe the next 7 years, give or take, I'm working primarily with buyers, and then my seller, you know, um, clients start coming in and everything else like that. Look, at the end of the day, I'm glad to be working, but I do get a lot of I do get a lot of joy of working with buyers. And a lot of people don't
all I'm
realize.
hearing, all I'm hearing you say is that you're planning for the long game,
So
that you're
absolutely,
going to be in this for a long time, and
I
and that's why you're doing.
yep. I have 20 more
Yeah.
years that I want to be in this business, and I'm going to plan on keeping up with technology. I'm going to plan on keeping up with the rules. I don't need to skirt the
Love
rules.
that.
I don't need to argue them or fight them. You give me the rule, I'll follow the rule, and I'll figure out how to make my business work around it. I'm going to constantly pivot. I'm going to constantly keep moving and shaking and learning. I just took my accredited buyer's course through the NAR, so I can bone up on that.
Oh,
I know the
nice.
buyer's agency
Yeah.
contract by heart. I can recite paragraph 2, line 14, what it tells you, because this is
Yeah.
my job, and we got to be pros at it. And at the same time, like you, it doesn't matter if you're a listing or buyer agent. Like we said, you're selling Sammy, you're selling your services and your customer service.
Sure.
Um,
I'll add to it as well, because just because you asked a multifaceted question there, was I I think I love learning both sides. I've definitely gotten a lot more experience selling properties. Once I started working with attorneys, and I started prospecting, just cold calling. attorneys because I found that they were already part of my business. I just wasn't talking to them. So, we were helping clients go through like the probate process of inheriting a home when mom passes
Okay.
or a family member passes. And the attorney was always there, but they don't reach out. They're doing their job, I'm doing my job, but we have the same client. And so I started bridging that gap and just reaching out. And then eventually that turned into speaking with attorneys before we had the same client. And I've been referred clients quite a bit now. I mean, gratefully from attorneys. And when you're working alongside an attorney, you can't wing it. So when I was new in the business, there was a lot more flexibility to kind of learn the job as you're going through, kind of like we were talking about. Learn the forms once you need to fill them out, things like that. An attorney can see through all that. And they actually had to go to school for what they do. So I've really loved working with attorneys. It's made me sharper on my skills, my communication. They've taught me a lot. But that was a natural progression that just happened over time.
No, it's great. So you've taken another part of the business that a lot of people don't think about, right? Working for estates and probate and everything else. And you're right, it is a big part of our business. A lot of us
Yeah.
think in real estate, and when I say a lot of us, I'm not necessarily speaking for you, but I'm saying the sentiment here in South Jersey is when people are talking about attorneys, they're like, "Oh, don't attorneys cloud the whole deal? They get everything, they make it longer. They fight, they argue, this, and that." I personally, I love when an attorneys get involved in the deal. I love when it's two attorneys. You know why? It's not because I don't want to work. It's because now it takes the burden off of me. I'm not an
Yeah.
attorney. I fill out forms. I negotiate. I get you the best
Right.
deal there is to do, and then we can let the attorneys fight and hash that out.
Let the pros do their job. Yeah.
Take the risk. I want to be risk adverse. Take me out of the risk.
Yeah.
I want to get you the best deal we can. I want to make sure you're on point with all your deadlines, your inspections, and everything else, which is great. Attorneys, they're attorneys.
Yeah.
They're great for it. I know that they took a big chunk out of us with this whole NAR thing again. Like I said, we didn't want to bring it up again, but it is. Well,
Those
we're the only
attorneys
ones that
did.
won, right?
Probate attorneys are very different than litigators, but
complaining.
yes.
They complain that real estate agents get anywhere between 6 or 5% or whatever. Meanwhile, these guys got 33% and a third on the settlement. So, come on, really?
Well, what I love to look at, and this is really okay. Sorry for jumping in. This is changing my entire business out here. I'm relatively new in real estate, right?
Right, I agree.
5 years. I'm still figuring it out. So there was a lot of things that were just truths. Like I was just told this is just the way it is when I got in. And I'm a questioner by nature. So I was like, well, why does it work that way? It just always has. This lawsuit has been so interesting to me because up to this point, I've had a lot of experience selling properties. So I've seen the psychology, the negotiation. I mean, how a sale really works. You can either put it up and just wait for it to fly off the shelf and sell. Sometimes it happens. And then sometimes you really have to grind it out, call people, get the offer out, drag the offer out of them, negotiate it up. And what I was realizing was this, and Sotheby's has a really interesting way of looking at commissions too. They call them selling fees out here. It's not a commission because we are seeing a big issue in our industry, just the Arizona market. This might be happening in New Jersey, but not many agents have business out here anymore because business has slowed down, started to pick back up. So when they do take a listing, many times they want to increase their value to their client by lowering the fee. And that makes sense. It's admirable, honestly, because I see their intention. But the reality and the effect of doing that, we're seeing the MLS may have taken out what the marketed fee is, but the first call, like you already mentioned, the first call from a buyer's agent is, hey, are we actually getting paid on this? And is my firm charges it regardless. It's not about my paycheck. So either my buyer pays it or you're going to pay it, and who's paying it? So everyone is ultra concerned with the pay. And what we're seeing is if you lower that fee, which a lot of agents out here have been doing, the house tends to sit on the market for a long period of time. And I guess I just ask my clients is if you sold the house week 1 or week 57, which one, if you had to guess, which one makes you more money? And they say, well, probably with the first week. And we're seeing that be actually more true since that settlement happened. So our clients are now paying 6, 7, 8%. And I know that sounds crazy, but the thing that I'm telling my clients is that, if you want to do 4, you absolutely can. It's not for me to tell you
Right.
what I charge. It's for me to tell you how it affects your deal, and then you decide. And they've been appreciating that, at least out here. I haven't heard another realtor actually take that approach outside of the Sotheby's family,
Yeah.
Arizona Sotheby's family.
Right. No, and you're right, because the product is what the seller is putting up. We're introducing
Right.
it. We're advising them what may be the best way to sell this product, what's going to get them the most attention, and what's going
Yeah.
to draw people. And you're right. The more time you sit on the market, the less money you make. The more attractive you make the property, whether it's costs, whether it's whatever the fees are and everything else, the better it's going to be. The other thing that I like
Yeah.
too is the seller's not doesn't have to show their complete hand anymore. They can
Right.
negotiate that too into the deal, and that's even better. It gives them a little bit more strength and a little
Yeah,
bit
I love it.
power on it. The one thing that we're concerned with, and my broker had brought this up in a meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago with our whole company, is I think we're going to see a race to the bottom for buyers agents
Yeah.
right now, and just a word of caution: you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, I'm not cautioning you, but I'm saying in general for the public, for all 20 of my subscribers, you get what you pay for. And
Yeah.
and that's what it is. The race to the bottom is not going to be good. You're not going to have strong negotiators. You're not going to have great deals. Your agent's going to get run over. And then here's
Mhm.
the other thing too. And even before buyer's agency agreements, if I cannot negotiate my pay to where it needs to be, there's no
Yeah.
way I can get you a great deal or have excellent fiduciary responsibility towards you, because I can't even handle my own stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Talking to you right now, I can hear the experience through your voice, right? Like when you're talking, like I can tell you've done this. And it reminds me of, it's like in the appointments where I'm interviewing for the job, many times it comes up. They're like, well, so and so, a friend or a family member is going to do it for this. And I almost tell them, I think you should go try, right? Because a lot of our clients come from expiring their contract, or they fired their agent, called it canceled, and then we go in for the interview. And I would just ask someone like you, with all your experience, right? You talk to a lot of agents. You have this great podcast. Can you hear it when you're listing a property, or when you're representing a buyer? Can you hear in the listing agent's voice, the other side, or the buyer's agent's voice, if they're newer at this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so we can then guide them, right?
Right.
Can't we lead them? And so I always take the approach of like being really helpful. So, Mike, this is such an exciting career you've gotten yourself into. How long you've been doing this? And if they let it slip that they're newer, they're going to think I am their best friend.
That's right.
But once you get them in that position, your client doesn't realize that you probably just picked up $10, $15, $20,000 extra to keep in their pocket, because you're now teaching the other side's agent, whoever they are, how to do their job. How much power would you have? I mean, it's amazing.
Yep. No, I agree. And I always look at
Yeah.
it like, when I get into a deal with another agent, we're co-oping and we get to the contract and stuff. And if I feel there may be a little weakness, without making them feel that way or invaluable or anything like that, I
Oh yeah.
take the
Yeah.
approach. Guess what? We're a team now. Sammy, you and I are in a deal together. Our team has
Right.
one goal: get our clients where they need to be. Get somebody's house sold, and let's get a buyer in there. So it's Team Mike and Sammy moving forward to go. And there's nothing wrong with some general coaching, some soft coaching, some, hey, you know what? I would maybe look at this and try to do it this way to see if you can get this. And then going forward on your next
Right.
thing. And, and I would also say, hey, take whatever information you want, leave the rest. If you think I'm full of shit, then fine. But, I've
Oh
been
yeah.
there. When I first got my real estate license, I was supposed to be mentored through my
Okay.
first couple deals. And you know what?
Yeah.
They signed the paperwork. Here you are, Mike. You're now an agent with the big balloon company. And,
Yeah.
oh, shit, you're on your own. So I paid for a refrigerator. I paid for a garage door opener. I missed an inspection because I just thought it was, an automatic thing
Oh wow.
on the contract. In New Jersey, it's, it's either, it could be whatever you write it for. right? If it's
Sure.
blank, it's 10 days. If you write it in, it's 14 days. It was blank.
Right.
I assumed it was going to be 14 days anyway. No, it was 10. So I missed the
Oh no.
inspection by one day. I called the other agent. They knew I was green. They said, hey, listen, we're going to let you do the inspection, but we don't care what your repairs are. Yeah.
Correct.
So
And how much
luckily,
money did they just pick up for their client right there?
right, because I'm not coming back with them with a list of things that needs to be done, so on and so forth. And
Right.
thank God the other agent on the other end was very reasonable, and we had
Yeah.
agreed that anything that was a safety hazard should definitely be fixed, and anything lender required repairs we're good, and so we were good, and for them, we were good, and for the most part that's all I ever go after anyway. If you don't like a fact
Yeah.
that the room is green and it's got yellow trim, all right, if you're the buyer,
Well,
fine.
that's like I think at the end of the day, this is let's simplify it and just call it the cost of experience,
Mhm.
As we all were green. We all started somewhere in every industry, someone starts as a new agent or a new employee. They're not as effective at their job.
Right.
And I guess that's almost a value that you and I and agents like us that have had the experience can offer to our clients and say, listen, if we're so lucky to have a newer agent, which statistically there's a lot of them out there, we're probably going to get one. You know, that's a difference of 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10% still in your pocket.
Right.
So, you know,
Yep.
that's our value. Just that we know the contracts even. So,
And that's a value to
but
everybody involved.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
but great point. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that.
All right. Listen, Sammy, I think it was great having you on. I really value what you shared with us, the information you have. You definitely come off as a true professional. With you speaking a little bit about your probate and estate stuff like that. This shows
Yeah,
people there's more to our job than just buy sell. There's other avenues, there's other things to take. Some people go after for sale by owners, some people go after expireds, withdrawn, but there's a lot more to this, and it just shows that we don't have to be afraid of attorneys, right? We can link
yeah,
up with them, make them our business partners. I take the approach of with my get seen get sold team. um, Anybody that I'm working with on a particular deal, they're actually an extension of my team. So if it's the loan officer, which I hate using the word officer because I'm not an officer, if it's the loan guy
yeah,
or girl or whatever, or them, whatever the bank is, my title company, my transaction coordinator, my home inspector, they're all an extension of me and my business, and it feels good, and I like to grow that network. So in a sense, when I get into a co-op deal, even though yes, you're for the seller and I'm for the buyer, we're not versus each other. We're part of the
right.
same team, and you become an extension of my team, and hopefully vice versa, because we're going to get it done. Sammy, you have any
Yeah.
parting words?
I just love this business, and every single year we just learn more and more. I guess parting words, two different things, right? Like if you're an agent and you're in this business and you've been in the business or you're new to the business, I've been I've been taught by my coach to look at every opportunity and change in this business as massive opportunity. So like we will need to learn new forms and learn how to explain to our clients what's about to happen. That's that's the change that's just happened. But the positive side of that is like massive amounts of agents out there right now that they won't be willing to do that, and so there's going to be less competition. And then for clients and attorneys and anyone else that's outside of the business, it's at the end of the day, I think it's if there is anything in the world that I can do to offer you value, even if you're not interviewing me for a specific job, feel free to reach out and feel confident calling, because at the end of the day, I see there's a big turnover every year. I think I've lost really good friends out of this business. And they say every 2 years we lose about 70-75% of agents out there.
Yep.
Those are big numbers.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think here on the
amazing
East
to me. But
Coast we're like at 85%. Um,
wow.
and I know it just
Yeah.
in my state alone, I believe, and we're a fairly decent sized state, but I think we have about 33,000 agents, so we're expecting that to cut in
Okay.
half. Um,
Yeah.
but Sammy, again, I thank you
That was
for
fun.
coming on, taking the time to talk with us today. I really appreciate you. Sammy, just real quick, give everybody your contact information. We're going to put it in the notes also, folks.
Oh, sure.
So, but just tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they're looking for do some kind of real estate
Yeah.
transaction out there in Arizona.
Yeah, realtors are not hard to find because our information's everywhere. It's Sammy DeStefano, realtor and probate specialist if you're needing that side of the business. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and then mainly just call me. I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. So it's 919-454 and then 6482. You can call or text me. That's just my cell phone. So, but Mike, I appreciate it. I'm really honored to be on your podcast. You always talk about really interesting things. I tune in from time to time. It was fun to get that call. So,
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. And, I think I don't like to drag these on too long because some people have very short attention span, including myself. But maybe I want to do a follow up with you in a couple of weeks because I'd love to get more into the value that you're getting from coaching.
Okay.
And maybe we'll bring in a panel and we'll have a few agents talk about it because coaching is important. And this is to our other real estate agents and friends out there. We don't do it by ourselves. It's great to have a mentor. It's great to have a good coach to keep our eyes open.
Yeah.
Sammy, with that, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you very much. Bye. Hey, everybody. What's up? That was Sammy DeStefano out in Scottsdale, Arizona. What a great guy. I really appreciate him coming on because, they're 3 hours behind us here. And, we started this podcast at 11. I know a lot of you agents are just getting out of bed now and everything else. And I'm not trying to shit on you. I'm just saying what it is. But nonetheless, if you or anybody you know would like to come on the Get Seen, Get Sold podcast, give me a call, 856-558-3464. Remember, there are dues that need to be paid here. You must offer some value. And I want to remind everybody that our podcast is brought to you by openhouse.net. And this is where we are. Have a great day. Openhouselist.net. Every house, every city, every weekend. Openhouselist.net.
All right, renegades and rulers of reality. That's a wrap on another ruthless round of the Get Seen, Get Sold podcast. Stay wild. Stay wild. Keep your listings lit and your negotiations nasty. Until next time, don't just get listed. Get seen. Get sold. Drop the mic. We out.